Welcome to week 1 of the weekly Ironman. This is the actual first week where I'm actually going to be doing things instead of just walking and explaining the rules. This is where I'm going to be doing the weekly recap. I'm going to basically go over what goals I hit, what goals I missed, and kind of what I did overall in the previous week. So this is kind of what I'm going to do every week, and I think that's a good idea because I'm not always going to hit all of the goals. I do work a full-time job, so that kind of gets in the way too. Alright, so here's where I'm going to kind of address the goals that I'd like to hit for that week. So for this week, I'd like to get 40 thieving, 40 woodcutting, 40 fletching, 40 firemaking, and 30 in the melee stats. Now, these are just kind of a rough estimate of what I'd like to hit. I don't know that I'm actually going to hit these goals. I make these goals prior to actually really exploring the area. So whether or not I hit these goals 100%, I probably won't all the time. So those are the goals for Ardoon. So we'll see if I can. All right, so let's dive right in. So first on my list of goals was thieving. So let's go over here and we will go to the men that are located upstairs in the pet shop. And we're going to pickpocket them up until 5 thieving. Very exciting stuff, I know. So let's get that started, and I think thieving is going to be one of the worst out of those goals because woodcutting's pretty AFK, fletching's fairly AFK as well, firemaking's firemaking's click intensive, let's be real. So let's jump into the hardest goal first and try and knock that out.
Giving up, letting go. Times we might feel compelled, looking down from the heights that we have built all by ourselves. And there is fear of the unknown, but we cannot lose control when we feel like the world is against us.
Alright, there's 5 thieving, so let's move on to this cake stalls. That was a pretty epic 5 thieving montage if you ask me. So I guess we can move on to the cake stalls. I mean, we've only just begun. It's a big grind ahead of us to 40, but let's do it. Alright, and there is 20 thieving. Time to move on to silk stalls. That wasn't too bad of a grind, but I know 20 to 40 is going to be a lot worse. I'll probably do silk stalls up until the chest to get the nature runes, and then I'll do that for a little while because I think that would be a good way to grab some cash and nature runes. Also, I found this shop over here that I didn't know existed that sells mithril plate body, which is pretty useful, so I'll have to pick that up before I leave here at the end of the week. Hopefully my melee stats will match it if I reach my goal, so I'll be able to wear that at least. But outside of that, I am going to move on to silk stalls and start building up a bank because silk will sell back to the merchant for 60 GP a piece. So that should give me a pretty decent cash stack to work with. So I'm kind of excited for that. Alright, and here we go. There's 28 thieving, finally. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the chest and get some nature runes and some gold. I mean, it doesn't give too much gold, but it'll give a little bit. And after I do the chest for a little while, I don't know how long I'm going to do it. I might be back at silk. I'll probably be back at silk, to be honest. And then I'll probably end up doing warrior woman just because warrior woman seems to be the best XP per hour. And it'll give me a decent cash stack. Not quite as much as silk, but it's still alright. So enough with that, let's move on to the chest. Alright, so my first random event, it's the Evil Bob one. I mean, it's not the good Evil Bob one that'll give me fishing XP, but still a random event, so I'm going to go ahead and do it because, hey, I haven't done this in a really long time. So let's see what I get. I mean, I'm not expecting to get much from this, but we'll see. Alright, let's see what... Oh, rubies. Rubies are good. I mean, those could be useful later game, right? Get some crafting XP and make Amulet of Strength, potentially. I don't know what else rubies are used for, actually. But, hey, something. Better than nothing. I'm probably going to stay at the chest until about 100 nature runes and then move back to silk and then move on to warrior women once I'm at the appropriate level. So, let's jump right back in and get that done. Alright, and there's 100 nature runes, so I'm probably going to head over to Warrior Woman at this point just because I want to expedite this process as fast as possible. So I'm going to jump over to Warrior Woman and do the most click intensive methods of getting to 40 thieving. So here we go. Alright, this one should be 40. Of course I fail. Why wouldn't I, right? Alright, so I generated an almost 16k cash stack just pickpocketing Warrior Woman, which is pretty solid, and that took a really long time. And of course I keep failing, but I'll get it eventually, I know it. But yeah, so 16k cash, pretty good. I used a decent amount of my cakes. I used all of my bread and all of my chocolate cake, so I might go back to the bakery stall before I leave. I might just risk it. So we'll see. Time to move on to woodcutting. So I just remembered that I need to sell all this silk, so let's see how much gold I get. I mean, yeah, so 34k almost. That's a pretty solid amount of cash to start out with. And I'm going to move on to woodcutting and fletching first, which should give me some more gold. But first I'm going to head over to the Witch Haven fishing shop, because that's within my area, and I can buy fishing supplies just in case I have a fishing spot in my next area, but no supply shop. So I'm going to buy 2 of all of the equipment and a bunch of bait and feathers. So I realized I didn't have a knife, so I went to the general store, and I had no idea that they had all this stuff in the Arduin general store. They have balls of wool, which I bought 10 of immediately because I figured that could be very useful. They have a lot of bronze arrows that sell for cheap. They have an instant axe upgrade, so I'll definitely be getting the iron axe. I'll probably buy some vials as well before I leave, and maybe some more balls of wool because I figure those will be hard to get at some point. Maybe not the vials of water, but the balls of wool definitely will be harder to get later on in the game. So I'll definitely get maybe 40 of those or so. Alright, let's move on to woodcutting then. Let's do this. Alright, so here we have it. 40 fletching, finally. That took so long. So I think I'm not going to worry too much about the fire making and proceed to melee and hopefully get the quest done, because I think fire making is kind of a less important skill than the others. But I did make 15k off of this, so that's pretty good. I got a maple seed as well, and I think I got 4 bird's nests and my maple seed. And what's my cash stack at now? Combined total with the bows sold, 48k, almost 50k already. That's pretty solid for the first week. I didn't expect to get that far. Alright, so here's my professional rat killer outfit. Turns out the professional rat killer outfit doesn't work that well. It took me literally a minute and a half to kill the first rat. This is going to be a hell of a grind. Don't know if I'll hit my goal, but I have another day or so before I have to get the video up and roll my new area. So let's knock out as much as I can. So I have become a rat killing machine at this point. I am two-shotting rats most of the time, and I got up to 18 strength, and I got 12 prayer off of all the bones. But I'm definitely not going to hit my goal. I'm running out of time here, and I want to get the quest done before I have to leave this area. So I'm running on just a couple more hours here, so I'm going to go ahead and try and knock out those quests and then roll the new area for next week. I am really excited to see what area I'm going to be restricted to next week and see what kind of content I'm going to be able to tackle there. Alright, so I didn't realize that the general store doesn't sell a jug of water, which I need for Monk's Friend, and I realized there's imps out here, so I actually got one on my second kill count, so I'm excited about that. Alright, so there is Monk's Friend complete. That was super easy. I'm going to move on to Haziel Cult, hoping rather that I can do that. I'm not sure if there's any requirements that require me to get out of the area. If there is, then obviously I won't do it, or if there's any items I need. I think I can do it though. I did look at it earlier. So this extra 2k experience in woodcutting is helpful, and 8 law runes is nice. So let's move on. Alright, and there's Haziel Cult quest completed. I got this purple dye from a spawn nearby. I don't know if it's necessary for anything at all, but I grabbed it anyways. I got 2k cash from this as well, and some thieving XP. None of those are going to give me a level, so that's unfortunate. But it's getting towards the end of the last day here, so I'm going to go ahead and roll my next area and conclude the video there. This has been exciting. I really like this idea. I'm having a lot of fun with it, so I'll keep doing it as long as I can. Alright. Okay, so I ended up breaking down the world map like I said I was going to, and I numbered all of the areas that I would be able to go to at this point. Besides that, I'm going to leave that until a couple more weeks until I can actually do more content on there. I know I can probably do a lot of content on there, but I'd like to keep to the main map for right now. I know it's hard to see all the numbers and everything at this scale, unless you full screen it on a larger device, I guess. But I'll also upload it to Imgur and include a link below so that you can look at it yourself. All of the locations are numbered, and I'm still going to roll on it, and based on that number, I'll show a more zoomed in image of where I'm going to be for those who don't want to go to the Imgur link. So let's move on and roll. Alright, I'm a little nervous for this roll. Let's do it. And we got an 8. Okay, so I'll show that area on screen and we can discuss more of that, what is to come. Alright, so initially looking at this area, I was kind of iffy about it because it's Relica and I don't have Fremneck Trials done, so I can't do much in Relica. But I do realize now that I'll have access to rock crabs, which will be excellent training for combat stats, because I got arrow as well as an Ardoon. And then Keldegrim will be my only bank in the area. And then there might be content in Keldegrim. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know Blast Furnace is in there, but I definitely can't do that. Another thought is I have the Hunter area unlocked, but I don't think I have the equipment I need for that. So that's out of the question. But I'm looking forward to getting some combat training on the rock crabs. That's pretty efficient training for me. And then Keldegrim might have mining in it. I know there's a ton of shops in there, lots of NPCs, so I guess we'll find out. I mean, I'm pretty excited still for it, especially to get all that training in. That'll be really good to get my combat up. So